Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Fuller Homestead. My name is Brian. Happy Monday to everybody. Today is going to be a shop cleanup day. I was sitting down this morning kind of going over all the things that I could do, but it's getting to the point now because we've done so much inside the house, and then when things get done, they just kind of get dropped off on the main outfeed table, on the floor, on a workbench somewhere, and it's just gotten to where it's almost impossible to do anything effectively because I have to move things to one side. Even have projects that I was planning on starting in here that I just hadn't gotten to, like hanging some pegboard and things like that. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean up section by section, and I'll try to explain that as we go along just because of the way my shop is divided up currently. I was doing some stuff with the tractor this morning, gonna get it out of the way, and then we'll get started. This first section that we're gonna hit behind me is the area where I keep all the stuff to work on the tractor, to work on the mower, chainsaws, our own vehicles. It's got all the fluids and things over here that we might need, also a tech cart with sockets and all kinds of stuff. And I guess my plan for this video is I'm gonna straighten up an area via time lapse, and then at the end I'll kind of show you around a little bit, maybe not go too much in depth because I don't think we're gonna have that much time. And then we'll hit each section today, and then hopefully by the end of the day and by the time this is posted, it'll be nice and clean. So let's get started. This section is what I would call somewhat more usable. Let's do a quick run through of it, and then we'll get on to the next section. This shelf right here on the top keeps stuff for car care things. So mainly it's if we're going to be detailing a car. We live on a dirt road, so outside detailing and inside detailing is somewhat of a losing battle, but we have the stuff anyway, mainly from the last house. Further down, you've got everything from antifreeze to windshield washer fluid, brake fluid, transmission fluid, power steering fluid. We've got some oils down here for not only the vehicles, but also for the mowers and mixing gas. A lot of brake clean. Moving on down, I got everything from hitches. This is kind of a hodgepodge shelf, but it's got a lot of hitches, and there's some Bondo there on the side. There's some tie straps. This is the main workspace over here. Just above that, I keep my chainsaws. I've got a Stihl, I think that's a 390, yeah, 390, and then a Husqvarna 142. There's some extra bars, extra belts, blades, things like that. This toolbox doesn't really belong here, but I just don't have a place for it yet. It was actually in my office at home, but it is, because it's got a collectible tools in it, and then when I moved, I threw a bunch of other stuff from estate sales in there, so I need to go through that and separate those. Some wheel chucks, a light, DeWalt battery-powered chainsaw. Here I've got everything from brake kits to hex socket sets. I think there's a puller set in there. There's a panel, hammer panel set, 4-gallon air compressor. Got several jack stands, bottle jacks, different gases, mixtures of gases. So here's the main tech cart, the only tech cart on this side. Got everything from wrenches up there on some magnets to sockets here on this side, screwdrivers, demolition screwdrivers, a couple of 1/2-inch socket wrenches back there. Ratchets, I couldn't even think of the word, sorry. 1/2-inch ratchets. I got some picks, some pry bars, Craftsman pry bars. And then you can see that I've got 1/2-inch, 3/8 and 1/4-inch. And then here is where I keep 3/8 and I think, yeah, there's a couple extra 1/2-inch right there. This drawer has everything from I think there's a fender cover. Yeah, fender cover right there, mask, fuses, some terminal grease, different gloves. Sorry, over this side. This has got some random hammers, a couple of cheap torque wrenches. You'll see a lot of Harbor Freight stuff. When I first started buying tools to work on vehicles, Harbor Freight was the go-to, and so a lot of stuff there. And you know what? It served me well. Like, got some panel pry bars, hose clamps, different things for tailpipe sealers. That's when I had the old truck. More hose clamps. Anyway, hodgepodge there. And then underneath, got everything from, there's that Tecton torque wrench there, needle pad, jumper cables, there's a drain pan in there. Underneath it, I've got parked a 3-ton floor jack. There's a creeper back there, a couple of lights up here. And that kind of does it for this section. Right here, I hope to keep this open about 14 feet back. And I'm gonna paint a line here so everybody knows to keep it clear, but that way when we pull things in, I've got this section. So that does the mechanical section. Let's move on to the next one. This one is still very much a work in progress because I've got some more things I want to do to it. I'll share a few of those as we go around. Starting to my far right here, 80-gallon Husky air compressor, blast cabinet there, and then this is my main working toolbox. The top is a catch-all, right? Like it's got gloves and masks and hole saws and all kinds of things, even stuff for video making right now. Then you walk down, I've got screwdrivers, nut drivers, Allen wrenches, pliers, and clamps. I have a problem when it comes to vice grips, and so I have quite a few of those, and robo grips. I don't know why I like those so much. A few cheapo pliers, chisels, bits. The bit drawer is a little out of control, by the way. I've got to figure out something else to do with a lot of these, but there's that. And then these bottom three drawers are gonna move. Right now it's plumbing and electrical, but I've got a section in the back of the shop where that's all gonna go. So those three will free up. As you move towards the workbench here, this is my grandfather's vise, Rock Island 574. It is a Hoss heavy vise, but ironically enough, the jaws are about the same size as that little guy that I showed you over there. Obviously the build is different, but as far as space inside the jaws, I think it's identical, 3.5. It's not huge. Got a 5-gallon bucket of evaporust there, brush, dustpan for the bench top. Under there on the very bottom are some projects that I'm still working on. So kind of a lot of my sandpaper that's in this accordion file there, according to grit, and then sanding sponges and steel wool in those plastic containers. These are angle grinders, battery operated and plug-in, orbital sander, angle sander, and sandpaper there. A 1x from Harbor Freight, a little belt sander, a couple of buffers, and another more intense belt sander made by Craftsman. To the bench, I've got an old Kennedy box here at the top. It's somewhat of a catch-all, but I kind of know what's here all the time. Pens and pencils, knives, extra staples, first aid kit. I forgot to show you the first aid kit on the other side. Label makers, paint pens, and that radio I use all the time. In this top drawer, everything from center punches to chisels and more punches. A lot of those were my grandfather's as well. Got a lot of brushes in here. Wire brushes, soft bristle brushes, and acid brushes. Whoops. More brushes, Q-tips, paint brushes. And then here I've got Dremel tools, Dremel accessories. The tools are down below, and then some random nut drivers that don't belong there. But apologize for going so fast. The reason this box is set up the way it is that this is kind of the first stop when I'm cleaning or restoring tools, and I use those quite a bit. I punch out rivets and pins, and then also clean out with a lot of that stuff with those brushes, so that's why that's there. This is going to be a lot of pegboard right here. I've already bought the pegboard, I've just got to put it up for some easy access tools there. Since all of my sockets are on the other side, I got this socket set for this bench. So on this shelf, a lot of cleaning products here. Up near the top, you've got a lot of paint remover and rust eliminator and degreasers, or degreasers and things on the second shelf. Denatured alcohol, oven cleaner, $1 a can, man, great grease remover. This also is a degreaser, but it's from the dollar store. It's, I forget what the brand is, LA something or other. It's pretty fantastic. Different kind of lubricants and paste waxes. Waxes are so good for not just cleaning your car, but cleaning other products. So I've got, there's Carnauba cleaning wax here. Got some old rubbing compound, turtle wax right there. I mean, it's just cool polishers. Odie's oil on, there's some adhesives right here. Everything from epoxy to wood glue to spray adhesive. And then on the very bottom, I've got puller sets, tap and die sets, rotary tools, a couple of those, hole saws, bits, thread restorer kits, screw extracting kits, and a box of stuff that still needs to be filed. Section, once again, as with any of this stuff, if you'd like a more in-depth look where I can slow down a little bit, be sure to let me know. Happy to do it. another cleared bench top of a major work in progress. Eventually, we're gonna have some metal pegboard here. This is gonna be the metal working area of the shop. I've got a metal base table here. I'm gonna replace this top with metal, or at least overlay it with metal. And so that will be done in the future. Now I've got this cut up railroad tie. My grandfather built that years ago. It was in his shop, now it's in mine. Got eventually fine-tuned this box and this box to kind of have the tools that I want. Another dustpan, another brush. I've got one on each bench, come in real handy. This is an old Fuller 4.5-inch vise. I like that one a lot. I've got a Leeson belt sander here. It's a really good. I've got this Win bench top drill press that my family bought for me a Father's Day or a birthday. I don't remember exactly, but I've enjoyed that. It's been good. Keep some Forstner bits up here, some sandpaper, some wire cups that I utilize with this, and then a couple of vices. I've got, one vise here. I've got 2 more vices for a drill press that are in the bottom. Got a little Craftsman. This was actually a restoration one time, but it was a user, and so I didn't care. I've got the other pieces to it somewhere else, but I keep a wire wheel and a fiber wheel on this one, and then of course a 3M shield for obvious reasons. But since this will be the metal working table, my one welder is right here. I've got another, my Lincoln welder is up under there for now, but eventually they'll move over here. The propane bottles will be out and the shop vac will be out. But for right now, this is the way it stands. Also, this bin right here is nothing but rags to be used in the shop. That's the box my cat usually sleeps in during the winter time, not right now. We're gonna kind of pause and say this is the metal working area for right now. Okay. All right. Before I get started with the time lapse on this section, I want to tell you what it is and what it isn't. Let's do it what it will be. How about that? It's going to be an office eventually that's enclosed. So wall here, wall there. Of course, the shop will be the wall. And then the roof that will be a loft that will go all the way across the back of the shop. Okay. But this part will have a window unit back there, and it'll be an air-conditioned, insulated area. But for right now, what we're going to do is try to make it office-like, and then set up this weight bench a little bit for myself and my son. Nothing crazy special, but we do have access to the desk now, bookshelf. This right here is an old air compressor my grandfather built a long time ago. We can go over that later. It's pretty cool. And I've got this weight bench set up. This is actually a whole frame over here that's got a pull down bar, and you can do pull-ups and things with it, but just don't have the space, or don't want to use the space right now to set that up. So this is what we're dealing with now. Now we come to kind of the hub. We've worked our way around the front part of the shop, and now we're coming to the center of the shop where I've got this assembly table. It's one of the first things, if not the first thing, that I built when I got here out of some scrap lumber that I brought up from Texas. It has been great for everyone to dump everything on. I mean, it's unusable right now. So the good news is, like 98% of this stuff, I know where it's gonna go in the shop. Like I've got sections of shelving where it's gonna go. So that's exciting. It's just really putting it up where it belongs. Some of the stuff needs to go back out, like this door, this hot water heater. We're gonna put that out in the underneath the shed, because that's for future projects and I don't need it right here, right now. I did want to say, though, a quick shout out to my friends at the Home Depot in Georgetown, Texas. For a short while there, I worked there. In fact, they gave me this nice apron as I left and signed it for me. Really cool group of guys and gals that I worked with, and it was because of them and that experience that I designed this back part of my shop like it is. So for instance, one set of shelving is the paint and plumbing section. The next section is going to be hardware and electrical. And then this third one is still to be named. Like it's going to be the stuff for the chickens and the chicken brooders and or the incubators and the feed and maybe some T-posts and stuff. And especially once I get the loft up, then that's really going to kind of be my homestead area. So we'll have paint, plumbing, hardware, electrical, and probably a homestead aisle there for the most used stuff that we go grab. But anyway, shout out to my friends in Georgetown. have it. It is now a lot better than it was. I won't say it's perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. Let me walk you around the table and a few other things to kind of let you know what the rest of the shop looks like, and we'll wrap this video up. This table, as I mentioned, is 4 feet by 8 foot as far as the surface goes. Height-wise, I wish I could remember what it is. I could get a measuring tape, but really what I did is I measured it to be even with my table saw. And so I pulled the table saw up as high as it would go, and then made the height of the table just like that for a very large outfeed table and an assembly table. Now, I did some real down and dirty drawers right here just by simply getting some 2x4s, and actually I cut down some 2x6s to make those happen. Drawers. So they're real simple. They just slide. This one I've got some clamps in. This one, some measuring. Whoops, I wedged in there. Measuring stuff, more clamps. And there will be 2 more drawers right there eventually, and then there's 2 there, and I'll have 2 more drawers over there. So total of 6 drawers all around this outfeed table. And just to give you a quick look at the rest of what we've got here, I've got a little 3-inch joiner. It's a very old Rockwell. I've got a DeWalt 13-inch planer here. There's my Craftsman 6-inch joiner. I've got this Jet bandsaw. It is the 40th anniversary edition, so I believe that's like 1998. This Ryobi 12-inch double bevel miter saw, and just recently for Father's Day, my kiddos and family got me this little mini wood lathe. Now, I say they got it for me. I went and bought it and said, hey, guess what you got me? But that's what that's like. As far as the shelving goes, this gives you a little bit more of an idea. It's not perfect. It still needs some work. We've got a couple of generators right here, and then the power washer that you've seen before. Some paint stuff there, but really this area is paint and plumbing. You can see the paint back in the back there lined up, plumbing right here. And some of this stuff will be emptied out pretty quickly. I've got a mop sink down there and a sink there. So as soon as we get water to the shop, those will be used. This is the hardware and electric. Electric's back in the back, some hardware stuff up this way. And then this will be the Homestead one. Right now it also has a lot of tools that I need to restore, but that gives you a look at it. That's going to do it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. We're going to go to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday video release schedule. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, I hear the new thing is to go ahead and give it a thumbs up as well. It's a new thing YouTube's trying. So go ahead and give it a thumbs up regardless. And they'll know in your heart what you were thinking when you did that. And if you would like to see anything more in detail in regards to the shop or any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. We'll try to get to them as soon as we can. But it helps us with ideas of what you'd like to see in the future. On Wednesday, we're going to be walking around the homestead and taking a tour, so to speak, show you what's already here and show you the plans that we have for future endeavors like the garden and the pastured pigs, or excuse me, the forest raised pigs, where our chickens are going to be, where our rabbits are going to be, and so on and so forth. We'll even take a look at some game cam footage to see what kind of critters are moving around here at night. So that's all coming up on Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.